On this episode of Take It Offline, we discuss visions, missions, and do they even matter? Take It Offline starts right now.
The fundamentals of business. Mental is a part of the word.
I never ask my clients to judge me on my winners. I ask them to judge me on my losers because I have so few.
There's money in the banana stand.
I'm a hard-working man.
You can't learn how to close. You better start thinking about another career.
Put that coffee down.
Welcome, everybody, to the Take It Offline podcast. That's Mike, and I'm Nate.
Hi, everybody. We're going to be talking work, life, leadership, and everything in between.
And hopefully it's what a lot of us are talking about anyway. We just decided to put it online in a podcast we entitled Take It Offline.
Yeah. And, you know, between 50 years of work and leadership between the two of us, we don't have all the answers, but we got a lot to say.
That's for sure. And so actually, Mike, before we get to our main topic tonight, the first thing that I wanted to jump in with is, as you know, I've been following the latest NASA moon mission. Have you been dialed in on this at all?
No, can't say that I've followed anything on the moon.
Not at all?
No.
So the Artemis II project is NASA's most recent moon expedition.
Okay.
They were set to launch on February 3rd, but the rehearsal was terminated due to liquid hydrogen leaks. It had a lot to do, actually, with the unusual cold that was in Florida over the recent weeks.
So basically the pipes busted.
The pipes busted. The O-ring was shrunk because of the cold, and it caused the liquid hydrogen to leak. And they discovered this during what they call the wet rehearsal.
Okay. All right. Interesting term.
As a musician, I appreciate that they call a launch practice a rehearsal. That's kind of fun. The wet rehearsal is...
So you like the fact that practice is called rehearsal? Like, is there a difference? Practice, rehearsal? Not the same thing?
Yes. There's a very distinct difference.
There's different. All right,
Yes.
We'll cover that next time. All right, so they do this wet rehearsal.
Yes.
Which you appreciate.
Yes.
And it doesn't go well.
No, the liquid hydrogen starts leaking everywhere, and they had to delay the launch. They had to terminate the rehearsal countdown with T-minus 5 minutes and 15 seconds left.
Okay.
And then they pushed the launch out. Now they're looking at March 6th to 9th, or maybe March 11th, maybe April. But it's kind of cool because it sort of got buried in the news with the weather around here, the weather across the nation. The Olympics are happening right now. And so hopefully this will allow for some additional news coverage. Because I think this is the first crewed mission to travel to the moon in over 50 years. That seems pretty significant to me.
Well, supposedly, Nate.
Supposedly.
Yeah, there's some moon doubters out there.
Who are these people? Where do they live?
I happen to marry one.
Oh. I set you up for that. I might get in trouble. They're going to be orbiting around the moon, and this is what's kind of wild. Some of the instruments that they're bringing up there, they can only test them in zero gravity by being in zero gravity.
Okay.
So they're flying up.
But you could do that without going to the moon. I mean, the space station is zero gravity, is it not?
It is, but because they're going to be orbiting around the dark side of the moon, they want to test their instruments over there as well.
Okay, so they'll see the alien civilizations on the dark side of the moon. Thus the reason we've never gone back to the moon. I'm getting into some conspiracy theories.
You are, Mike. This was you took this in a very different direction.
I am. I'm taking you down. So the point is, I think your point is that we're going back to the moon.
We're going back to the moon, and we're kind of, in a lot of ways, living in a new space race because they're not going to land on the moon on this mission, but it's to pave the way for the Artemis III, which is supposed to launch in 2028. That mission is going to take a crewed lunar landing module up to the moon's south pole. And so we're kind of in another space race now where China said that, we're going to get to the moon by 2030. And so we undercut it by 2 years and said, we're going to get there by 2028.
Well, you know what's interesting?
Yes.
We went to the moon multiple times.
Yes.
No one else ever went.
No.
Why?
I don't know. You know what else is interesting? This will feed into your conspiracy theories you've just been floating out over there. most of the schematics and the data and the telemetry, yes, all of that from the original missions is lost. The government has no idea where it is. Can't replicate it.
Well, my wife would say because it never existed. She's not alone in that theory.
So there's actually a point to bringing all this up, though, I promise. And as we are talking about tonight's topic, mission and vision, and whether or not it all matters, it got me thinking about the original mission of the NASA program, which was
to go to the moon, put a man on the moon and bring them back safely. That was what John F. Kennedy said.
And so we did that.
We did
at least once, probably more, but it can be confirmed
multiple times. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. What is it? 11 folks walked on the moon, something like that.
Yeah,
it's
allegedly.
So, correct. So we went to the moon, and I think where you're heading with this, and where my head goes, there was so much excitement during the 60s that we were going to get to the moon. We were going to beat the Russians.
Yep.
It was extremely important to.
It was an incredible
America.
scientific achievement for
Absolutely.
American ingenuity,
Yep.
American intelligence, all of that.
Yep. But then the interest in the space program has really died out.
Could it be because they accomplished their mission? Their mission was too short-sighted. And so where do you go from there?
Well, I think that's when that opens the door between the idea of missions and visions. And is there a difference? And I think this is probably where you and I might have some few differences.
Yes, we have a lot of differences, believe it or not, to our listening audience. Mike and I, we've been friends for over a decade, and acquaintances before that. We agree on a lot, but we're not afraid to respectfully disagree. And I, as we were coming up with our outline for the topic tonight, I believe very firmly that there is a big difference between vision and mission, and it's important to differentiate for any organization to differentiate among the two, whether it's a large organization, maybe you're an entrepreneur just starting out, formulating your own vision and mission. I was speaking with someone today, and I asked him, what's your goal? And he said, I want to make this much money, which is okay. That's a nice goal, but then what? What's the point? The whole point of making X number of dollars is to do something with it, whether it's to better your family, better yourself, buy a boat, go on a vacation, give it away, build up your community. Like, that's the goal. The money is just the tool. And so I think in a lot of ways, the mission to get to the moon, to land a man on the moon and bring him home safely, okay, great, mission accomplished. Well, now what? So it was, interestingly enough, the NASA's mission to go to the moon was somewhat short-sighted, as opposed to what is
well,
the...
Nate, did missions and visions, and were they even a thing back then? I mean, let's start there. So we're talking... Kennedy's talking about this in 60, 61, somewhere around there, right? It doesn't happen until 68, 69. Forgive me for not knowing the exact date. And
69.
And so was that even? Had anyone even considered the idea like, oh, you should have vision statements, you should have mission statements? Was that out there?
It was in its infancy at that time.
Okay.
Back in the 50s, when more fragmented work was coming about, and it was less and less family-owned operations and more corporations, or bringing people from different walks of life into a unified vision for a company. There's that word. That was when leaders felt the need. Hey, how are we going to get everybody on board with where we're going, and how we'll know when we get there, and what it looks like while we're doing it? And that's where I believe that vision and mission are very different, because vision sets that long-term goal, whereas mission is the roadmap to get there. Another way to say it is that the vision is what it looks like. The mission is what it looks like while we're doing it.
Yeah, I would completely disagree.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Give me your alternative.
So I would tell you,
perspective.
I think a vision should be something that you never achieve.
I agree. I completely agree.
Okay. So, well, in your definition there, you said it's a goal, and then the mission is what it looks like while you're achieving that goal.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at some examples that I pulled here just to kind of clarify, because I think we disagreed, but we're in violent agreement at the same time. So Google's vision is to provide access to the world's information in one click. Now, is that an achievable goal? Because how do you measure the world's information? There's new information being created every day. This podcast is brand new. It's going to end up on Google eventually. We have new scientific discoveries happening all the time. Information is constantly growing and changing and updating.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean that. So yes, there's a couple of things about that vision that I think are solid.
Yes,
it's externally focused. It's not about us and how it helps us and nobody else. So that's positive. It's inclusive, right? It's the kind of thing that folks would want to join and say, yes, I could be part of that.
Yes.
And it is something that looks like you probably will never be able to reach it. I will need to hand it off to the next generation to continue it.
Precisely.
Which I think are key parts of a vision.
So then let's take a look at the mission. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So their vision is to provide access to the world's information in one click. That is an outward-focused vision. It is an inspirational vision. It shapes the culture of the organization. Then their mission is the motivational shift that shapes day-to-day activities. So you have the mission to organize the world's information. So that's what we're doing, working for Google. Not you and I, we don't work for Google, but workers for Google to organize the world's information and make it universally acceptable. That's what they're doing every day that points towards their vision of providing access to the world's information in one click.
Yeah, I guess where I come down with it, Nate, is I look at it and think you don't need both, right? I think what most entrepreneurs need, what most leaders, a CEO, whoever it is, I think what they need, you need a North Star by which you can guide the path forward. So I'm at a crossroads.
Okay.
You know, we're going to do X, we're going to do Y, and how do I decide which direction I'm going to go? I think that decision is made by having a strong vision and a North Star. So the question is, does this advance our mission, our vision of where we want to head? I think the mission, that's fine. So you could almost say that's a strategic priority for us right now.
Okay.
But I could have multiple strategic priorities that help me get towards that larger vision of creating, as you described it, the information in one click. So I think where I struggle with it is, I think the average person doesn't get it.
Yes.
And I think
agree
it
with that.
takes way too much mind share to try to figure it out and way too much oxygen in a room to figure it out. And at the end of the day, I personally don't think it changes that much. If you have a good vision, which I think that's a pretty good one,
okay,
and one that folks want to sign up for, let's move on to the more important part,
which is
we got to get people aligned. We need people to feel like the work that they're doing each and every day helps work towards this larger vision that we have.
So wouldn't that be where then the mission takes place? Because the mission is where the alignment happens.
So read me the mission again.
The Google's mission?
Yeah.
Or do you want to switch to another?
No, give me Google so I
Stay with
can
Google.
debunk it.
Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful.
Okay. So what if I'm the accountant at Google?
Well, are you dealing with information? Are you organizing it? Are you making it universally accessible for your organization and useful for your organization so that they can then continue making more of the world's information universally accessible and useful?
No, I'm probably dealing with numbers that I'm not going to send out to the organization.
The other thing you mentioned that was interesting, you were talking about the priorities and finding alignment on priorities. It was only recently that the word priorities became plural. Because until recently in our multitasking world, which multitasking is a myth, by the way, that's not actually possible.
Tune in for episode 5.
So what?
I just threw that out there.
See, I can't multitask.
We'll talk about multitasking on episode 5.
Oh, okay. So priority is a singular word that only recently became plural. So a mission can help to then, what's the word? Bring about a more singular priority for the organization.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to change my mind on this one, Nate.
That's fine.
I really don't. So I'll tell you, I kind of fall under the school of thought.
I just like that I made you think.
Yeah, sure. It's not that hard. I fall under the school of thought, if you will. I almost would say kind of a disciple of what Simon Sinek puts out there when it comes to this topic. And his term that he likes to use is just cause.
Okay.
And I really like that. Because what you're trying to say is that we have a cause and it is just. And I think most people can kind of grab their head on that.
Okay.
It also takes a little bit of the cliche out of the room. And he kind of aligns to the idea that, fine, call it vision, call it mission, call it whatever you want. What really matters at the end of the day is, do you have that thing that is setting the direction for you? And does it have components that make it viable? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we really get to, right? So, is the fact that, do you have something that, whether it's a vision or mission or both, that is helping to truly drive your organization and make it better?
So when you said you, are you talking about the plural you, the entire organization? Are you talking about leaders and the CEO? Or are you talking about executive level, all employees?
I would say the leadership, which could be C-suite. It could be the mom and pop. It could be the entrepreneur. It could be the board of directors. It's the person that is working to, when I say, do you have a vision or a direction or a North Star or a just cause, when I use the word you there, I'm describing the folks that are ultimately in charge of running that organization.
The ones who are setting the direction
yes.
for where we're going.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
The person in charge. So here's where I'll take, and maybe you've got some thoughts on this. I said it's good to have a vision and one that helps you drive the business. So here's a question. Do visions and mission statements, do they actually help make the company stronger? And maybe even throw in, how do you measure that? Like what are some, to use a corporate word, KPIs about how that you would say, well, how do you measure what stronger looks like? How is that determined?
Well, that goes back to what you said earlier. We touched upon briefly alignment. You can have the best vision, mission in the world. Every word can be meticulously thought out. But if there's not buy-in with the organization, everybody in the organization, all the way on down, then it's just words on a wall that fade into the background of the day-to-day.
Did you ever hear, and no one knows if this is true or maybe a little bit of legend, but there was a story that John F. Kennedy was visiting NASA, walked up to a janitor and said, "Hi, sir, what do you do here?" And he goes, "Mr. President, don't you know I'm helping put a man on the moon?"
Really?
Yeah.
So he bought into the mission. It
was the idea that every job here is one piece towards this larger thing.
Mm.
And I think so. Excellent example of what you want when you talk about alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Again, once you did that, now all of a sudden you're kind of, well, I'm lost, right? Because it was a goal. It was a goal as part of a larger thing. And if you look up NASA today, they've got a whole different one, which is really cool. But I think your alignment points is exactly what you're talking about. And when you look at it, studies, surveys, all of this, mom and pops tend to have the greatest alignment.
Really?
And it makes sense because the person that started this thing
yes.
is in it every day,
yes.
is interacting with the people every day. There's no levels. There's no layers, right? They're there.
Right.
So this idea of like, I work for Nate. I know what Nate cares about. I show up every day. Chances are you're going to fire me pretty quickly if I don't align to what you're trying to do here,
Sure.
right? I'm going to move along. And so it intuitively makes a little bit of sense that you're close together,
Right.
and it's easy to have kind of that same concepts of what matters, what are we trying to do, what's important.
Yes. As opposed to, just to kind of draw this thread out, looking at larger organizations, the larger the organization is, the more that I suppose that mission or vision or alignment gets diluted on the way down from the C-suite and the leaders to the executives to the market level leaders to the employees and the managers. It can be easy to lose sight of the overall vision and mission, and that's where that alignment falls apart. And I think some of that is a little bit cultural these days, because many of us, we may work for an organization and we may be very proud to work for our organization, enjoy working for our organization. But at the end of the day, going back to an earlier conversation we had, my purpose is about, me and the people that are closest to me and my family. And so that's what drives and motivates me. And I think for a lot of people, it used to be, my grandfather worked for Kodak, and 30 years, retired from Kodak with a pension. Gone are the days of people working for an organization for 30 years and retiring with a pension. Things are very different. There's a lot more career hopping now, especially in the generation under us. People in their 20s and 30s, they're moving careers more and more often because their vision and mission, I'm not saying it's wrong, is more, their just cause is them, rather than buying into a larger organization, which I think makes it a big challenge for leaders these days, which is one of the reasons we started this podcast and one of the things we wanted to talk about. Because finding that alignment in a very fragmented society, a fragmented workforce, especially when people are working from home in a lot of situations, that's that much more challenging, because you're farther and farther removed from that mom and pop scenario, that entrepreneurial scenario where everyone is like, burning the midnight oil to make this thing work, to get it off the ground.
Yeah, but there's another side to that too. So if you think about the impact that a mom and pop can have is very small.
Yes.
So if I'm someone who, and you mentioned the younger generation, and most of the younger generations, millennials, Gen Z, they actually say that they're looking to work for someone that they feel like has a really strong purpose.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to see it as well. So they tend to investigate what you put on the wall. Is it living itself out? And they do more of that work than probably folks in our generation, Gen X or boomers, ever did before, right? Like, we worked for a company because the work made sense, the pay made sense, whatever, the geography made sense.
Location, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And these, some of the newer entries into the workforce are looking at, does this company align with things that I care about and that matter? Mm-hmm. A larger corporation has the ability to have a much larger spread, a larger impact on a particular cause than a mom and pop does. So you could almost think, well, they have this ability to create this amazing just cause and to create a tremendous impact in the world. Mm-hmm. They can do that. So,
but that's where it boils down to what you were saying again, alignment.
Correct. Well, I think there's twofold. And so I know we looked at a couple different companies. Some of it is, does the company have an actual, do they have a vision that people want to get behind? One that attracts people to it to start with, right? I think it has to be attractive. And I one of my favorite stories is Sony. And I think you and I have talked about this offline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one of the great things about Sony is when Sony started, their mission, their goal, their vision, their just cause was, we want to prove that Japanese companies make great products.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they started off making like toaster ovens.
Mm-hmm.
And
small electronic devices.
Yeah. I mean, and that was it. Well, today you think about Sony, they make movies, they are in the music industry, they make tons of electronic equipment. They're televisions, projectors. They're completely different. Yeah. It wasn't about a product. It wasn't about a profit. It, for them, was, we want to show the world that Japanese companies make quality products
It was
that you
national
want.
pride.
And
a
they
lot.
just moved into wherever they need to move.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about a good vision.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people can rally behind that,
Mm-hmm.
and you can pivot to wherever the market takes you.
Yes.
It is not dependent upon the economy. And that's one of the other things under Simon Sinek's kind of just cause piece. It's the idea that you're resilient, that
Mm.
if the economy crashes, are you gone? You know, if people all of a sudden decide to change, well, we don't need that product anymore. Invention of a particular technology,
Mhm.
are you gone?
Mhm.
And Sony's a good example of, okay, if toaster ovens had gone away altogether,
Mhm.
were they going to be able to survive? Yeah, because it wasn't about that.
Right.
It was about creating quality products.
Mhm.
So that to me is one of my favorite stories to talk about.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But then there's other ones that you'll see out there that it's more, we want to be the strongest financial company in the world,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Very internal,
Yes.
hard to get rallied and say, I'm an
Mhm.
outsider and I want to
Mhm.
be part of that.
Right.
It would be even hard for some other companies to say, sure, we'll partner with you on that. That sounds like something that we could, join up against.
Yes. Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily benefit all. And here's the other best part. You don't really always have control on that. So I want to be the best company. I want to be the strongest financial company in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what happens if I'm number 2 and number 1 goes bankrupt? Okay. Well, now I'm number 1. I didn't really do anything to be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy just failed,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
It's almost like, hey, I won the Super Bowl because the other team forfeited.
Okay.
I didn't really win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And so there's situations that can exist like that,
Sure.
where your vision looks like it played out, but did it really?
Mm.
And even then, great, so you achieved it. Now what? It's the dog that catches the car, right?
Right.
The dog catches the car, and then
Right.
what does he do? He doesn't know what to do
You
with it
can
now.
only want that which you do not have.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a lack of contentment, which, Nate, we discussed this a little bit. I don't know if we have time for it, so cut me off if we don't.
And I think we're good. Keep going.
We discussed this idea that in today's world, you often hear, and especially on podcasts, you'll hear a lot of folks talk about this idea that you have to keep going. You can
Yes.
never
Mhm.
stop. And
That's right.
I think,
Can't quit, won't quit.
yeah,
All those memes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it speaks to this idea of, well, you don't want contentment. Well, why don't you want contentment? You, I think, gave me when we were kind of getting ourselves ready,
Mhm.
you told me what I thought was a really great answer to this question about why, once they get it, they're not content or happy with what they got. Do you remember?
Was it just now today?
No, it was yesterday.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. What was
So
it?
you
What did I
slept-
say?
You slept on it. This is why I write everything down.
Okay.
What you said was, because it
This is
wasn't
going to be good. I can't
it
wait
was
to hear
never going to make them happy in the first place.
it. That's right. Yeah.
They were chasing this thing that if I just get this,
Mhm.
it's all going to be good. And they got it. And it's like, oh gosh, I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. The emotional feeling that I expected did not come, or it didn't last. So now I got to go chase the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it just never ends. And I think we hear that advice out there
Yes.
in a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end of the day, you're not chasing, this success. And it's not this idea of like, well, okay, I'm okay with being mediocre and I have to keep doing more. I think a lot of it comes down to, we're thinking that there's going to be fulfillment in some of these things that we get, the next position, the next title, the corner office, my company bought another company, it doubled
Yeah,
in size.
yeah.
I went public, whatever it is. We think this is going to be the thing.
Right. Right.
And then it's not.
Right.
And you even see that in the number of people that sold their business
Mm-hmm.
and then go start another business.
That's right.
It's like you have enough money that you don't ever have to do anything.
Right.
But
Right.
they still do
because
bec- because they need purpose.
they need purpose, and true success or contentment is perhaps realizing that you already have all that you need, and you've already surrounded yourself with all that you need.
Right.
And
Right.
and then that does again, there can be growth within that, but it doesn't have to be this endless pursuit of more and more and more, because it is in the end ultimately unfulfilling.
Right. If you are achieving purpose in what you do, then you don't need more. Now, maybe more helps you to grow the purpose and do more. Awesome.
Right.
Fine, right? Nothing wrong with growth. But it's more what I think folks need to consider and really focus on is the idea that I'm never going to be truly satisfied or happy unless I feel like I am purposeful in what I'm doing. And I think that's true with companies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that companies continue to shift. One of the things, what did we see that you have, forget what the term for it was, but it was some type of, it was like corporate shift or something along those lines, where you see some of these larger companies, vision drift was the term.
That's right. Yep.
And it often comes because, oh gosh, quarterly results are not what we thought they were going to be, so we must be on the wrong path. We got to shift. We got to change. Versus you have a North Star. And it doesn't matter if, okay, I went in a ditch for a minute. I know where the North Star is, so I just get out of the ditch and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And
both of us have found ourselves in the ditch.
Yeah.
And we've had to recalibrate.
Well, after these 21 states got out of the snow blizzard, there was quite a few people in ditches, I'm sure.
Quite literally, yeah.
There might still be.
But even figuratively and metaphorically. And I think that is part of growth as a human, is learning learning how to and when to recalibrate for that North Star, because it can be very easy to get off track. Your vision drift happens in organizations, and it also happens in our own lives as well. And we end up heading in a direction that we were not intending to go, and after moments of self-reflection or crisis, you can kind of course correct and come back to it. But that, I think, ties into that on a personal level, the mission and vision piece.
Yeah. So Nate, let's try to bring this thing home.
Okay.
I think we both agree that a vision statement matters.
Okay.
North Star, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Having a direction that is bigger than yourself,
mm-hmm.
inclusive of others.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it great for the organization,
mm-hmm.
it does bring tremendous values. We didn't get into a lot of that, but turnover's better, innovation's better, profits are better.
We have a couple minutes. What are some of the numbers on that? Do you have those handy?
Yeah, I mean, it's what did we see? There was a 10-year research that was done, and it was companies with strong vision statements,
mm-hmm.
where the employees were aligned to it,
mm-hmm.
and that's kind of point number 2,
mm-hmm.
right? So good vision statement with good alignment.
Good alignment.
Had 1,000% growth during that 10-year period,
Man.
and the companies that didn't were at 122%.
Man, so there's still growth. It's just not great.
Significantly different.
Yes.
Turnover was 54% better in companies that had strong visions with employee alignment.
Mm.
And innovation, we talked about this a little bit in episode 1, innovation was 14% higher in those companies with vision and alignment than in companies without.
Mm.
So you invent more. People are, which all of this is intuitive if you really get down to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
People love what you're doing. They stick around. They're happier.
Right.
They come up with new ideas that are great. There's better collaboration because they know each other.
Yeah.
It's not hard to figure out. But at the core of it, but for some reason, there's clearly opportunity because there was a
Mhm.
bunch of companies that only got to 122%.
Yep.
At the core of it is, are we sitting down to figure out what is our North Star?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good North Star?
Mm.
And how do we get people aligned to this in the right way?
And I think that's where leadership really comes in, and that's one of the topics that both you and I are passionate about, and one of the overarching themes of this podcast is good leadership. And getting people aligned, you can't get people aligned. You can't get someone to fall in love with you. You can't get someone to respect you, but you can earn those things. You can cast that vision. You can inspire the people around you. You can exemplify the North Star, that driving force and that driving focus, and then invite other people into it. And with the right leadership, yes, there may be times when you need to coach people up into it, get people on board at different times,
or get them out,
and part as friends and move forward. But
or not.
Sometimes
it doesn't.
That's true. It really does boil down to leadership, and then not just the C-suite. Like, that can fall to any level of leadership.
I think it falls to all levels of leadership. I don't think it can just be the C-suite. That would be an issue.
Yes.
It has to be everybody.
Okay, good.
And even in a smaller company, right? This isn't just about corporations. If you're a regional company, maybe you only work inside of a particular smaller geography, but you are bigger. You're not just the mom and pop with 3 or 4 people in the same building. You probably have some other levels of management. All those levels of management have to your point, have to do intentional things to live out the vision, to show and demonstrate, I'm making this decision because it's in alignment with where we're trying to go.
Yes.
And then there's the value piece in it. I think we're going to get to some values, right? Because that
next episode.
Yeah, that makes a difference. All levels of management really do have to get there. And you have to, this is where leadership really, I think, comes in. You have to help interpret for folks. If you think folks are just going to simply hear the vision and then interpret how their work fits in, I think we're expecting a little too much.
Okay.
I think there are folks who, I'm going to show up, I want to get paid, I want to go home, I got a lot going on in my personal life.
Right.
I'm not thinking
You're lucky I'm here.
I'm not thinking about how these dots connect.
Right.
And thus the reason for leadership. Super important, right? We can't do without it. If you go back through all levels of history, there's always been some type of leadership in place, and hierarchical leadership, because it's needed. And I think one of the key things that leaders need to be focused on is, what is the North Star? What is my team's role in following that North Star? And how do I help make sure that the people on my team know that their work contributes towards it?
That was well said, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And, Nate, I think that's a good use of our time today, and that's all the time we have. So we're really glad that folks were listening.
Yeah, and we invite you to join in the conversation with us. Take It Offline is online. Soon to be online. We're working with our executive producer. We'll soon be available on Instagram. You can slide into those DMs, or you can send us an email. Again, coming soon. We might have to recut these outros once we have that information, Mike, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll plug it in.
Well, Mike, this was great use of our Tuesday evening together. I appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. The Take It Offline podcast is a production of Take It Offline Media. All views and opinions are ours alone, reasonably informed, and meant for personal enrichment and entertainment. Views expressed do not represent any particular organization or employer. Copyright 2026 by Take It Offline Media.